Probably be good if everybody muted.
Yes, I've got almost everybody muted. Let's see. Not me. Okay, well, if everybody can mute yourselves, that way I don't have to go look for it. Hi, everybody, and welcome to Business Boot Camp. Recruiting fixes everything. Yahoo! It does. Who was it that first said that? Was it not Jean? I can't remember. Who was the first person?
Judy Joel.
Judy Joel. Yeah, that's what I was wondering. I know it was a JJ. My brain just blanked. Recruiting does fix everything, and that's what we're here to talk about tonight. You know, we've been a little slow on recruiting, some of us, not others, but some of us. And we're here to talk about why we can actually say with confidence, like recruiting is the place to start. If you want to kickstart your business and bring it to a new level, then recruiting is where you want to start because it's going to fix everything. Anything that ails you, it's like the apple a day of the Pampered Chef world, right? Anything that ails you can be fixed with recruiting. So one of the things we want to talk about is why recruit, because if we're saying, okay, it's going to fix everything, why recruit? The obvious reasons, obviously it is the fastest way to achieve your dreams and your goals. If you have goals for your business, you're going to get there faster with recruiting by building a team under you. For example, the incentive trip that we're getting ready to take, if we had just relied on sales and sales alone, yes, you can do it. You can make it to Jamaica next year. You can make it to the Gaylord Hotel next year, but it's so much faster and easier to do when you're recruiting and building a team and promoting and things like that. So you want to concentrate on that because if you want to go travel with Pampered Chef, which who doesn't, right? Then this is the way to get there. And I'm going to pull up, I shared this at the beginning of the year when we were talking about our incentive trip. Let's see. Okay. Okay, can you see my screen?
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So this is a look at the 2022 incentive trip. The level 1 is 60,000 points, just like this past year. Okay, if you did sales only, this is how many parties you would need to have per month to get 60,000 points. Okay. And that's based on, an average party. I think I figured obviously like $600 party. Okay. But let's say you're going to recruit and qualify one member. Now, remember, you're getting extra trip points only when you qualify that person. You recruit and qualify one member every other month. So just one team member every 2 months to recruit and qualify. Look at that number. It drops down to you only need 6.5 parties per month. You reach a team leader level by June. Okay, this is assuming a team leader. You're going to get some extra bonus points for that. And look at how much happier you are. You've changed some lives, and now you get to the trip so much faster. Well, what if you change that and you say, okay, I'm going to recruit, let's say 2 people every month or 3 people every couple months, but I'm going to qualify 1 team member every month. Okay. And if you reach, this was based on the full year, but if you reach director by June you'd only have to do 2 parties a month to reach that goal of the level 1. But look at that. If you are doing this for the year, okay, this is based on a year, and you do, let's say 7 parties a month, which is, pretty average. I'd say even a little bit below average for a director because we've reached director. Then you'd be going to Puerto Rico with us for the all-inclusive trip. Woohoo! Only doing 7 parties a month, which is below average for a director. Once you say we're shooting for like the 8, 10, 12 range, as a director. That's one reason you are going to reach your goals so much faster. This is a really good example of reaching your goals so much faster. You can have the same goals. You can reach a director on just sales alone. Did you know that? But it takes a lot higher level of sales to get there on a consistent basis than it does if you're building your team of just 5 people, and that's for a whole team. So it's just a faster way to achieve your goals. Again, we talk about enriching lives. This is another way to reach out to people and really change some lives. Like, if Tina had never reached out to me and talked to me about joining her team with Pampered Chef, I would be in a completely different place. I would be a completely different person. Now, I know that sounds a little bit like drama, but it's absolutely the truth. It would be a completely different life I'm living than what I'm doing right now. And so the thought of bringing that to other people and touching their life in the same way, or even half that much, or, it's just, that's something that we want to strive for. We want it to be, about them and not always, what can I get? What can I get? Okay, which brings me to number 3, earn more money. Okay, that's the what I can get. Earn more money. You can, a consultant that sells a very, very solid $3,000 a month. Okay, if you're selling $3,000 a month and your commission based on that as a consultant would be $720. That is a good income. That's a good monthly income, especially for that amount, of time that you're putting in with 3,000 in sales. That's really good. But that same $3,000 in sales, if you're a director, so with a team under you, and let's say your team is contributing just slightly more than the same amount that you are. So let's say you're selling 3,000, the rest of your team put together, let's say they sell 4,850. I don't know where this came from, but it was based on 5 team members contributing each a certain amount, and reaching 4,850 in sales for the whole team, or for the team under you. Basically, instead of that 720 in commissions, it's going to be over $1,000 for that same amount of parties and, and sales that you had. It's a lot more bang for the buck if you're recruiting. And let's not forget. So any questions about that? I know that was a lot of numbers at you, but that's about what, like a 30% higher. And we always say it's about 30 to 40% higher commission, paycheck when you reach a director than when you're a consultant. And that's kind of proof in the number right there. That's a pretty average size director.
I don't have a question, but to also for a couple of you are new on here. So that extra money you get are overrides on what your team is doing. Okay, so you make your money as always, but then you also generate income from your team. And then the other thing I wanted to make sure you guys knew, when she was talking about recruiting and qualifying, you can recruit out to wazoo, but qualifying means they have to do 1250 at some point in the year, preferably in their first 30 days, because there's some kind of an incentive Pampered Chef does that you get when you do that in 30 days. But when they do that at all, you get 3,000 trip points towards the incentive trip. Right. So I just wanted to make sure you understood that qualifying means they have to do 1250 in sales and they're sometime soon.
Yes, thank you for pointing that out, Miriam. And actually, if anybody has, especially the newer consultants on here, if you have any questions as I'm going through that are like, okay, what does that mean? Feel free to write it in the chat, because Tina and Miriam or, Mona will hop on there, and Aubrey will hop on there and kind of answer that for you too. Because don't feel like I'm skipping over and, but since we do, I'm trying to keep it short. But if you have that question, that's a very important question to have answered. So make sure you ask that if you have a question. Okay. So other things that you can get lots of free products, especially if you're in your first 90 days. I'm not going to get into the whole fast track rewards with that, but there's so many new products you can get. You can get extra cash bonuses for recruiting in your first 90 days, huge cash bonuses right now. So you do not want, and then there's other like freebies too that are going to be like thrown at you, especially in your first 90 days. So you really want to make sure you're taking advantage of that, because if you're not, it's just like sitting money, like money being left on the table. It's there for you to grab. And I think I'd rather you grab it than just like let it sit there and go back into Warren Buffett's pocket. So, there are all these incentives and all this stuff. Another thing that it will help your business. So I said recruiting fixes everything. So it's not just recruiting to build your team. It's also recruiting to build your own business. When I started recruiting for the first, let's say 5 months, I didn't recruit a single person, nobody. And I was like, I just want to do parties. That's all I want to do. I just want to have a paycheck. That's all I want to do. And I finally had somebody come to me and say, oh, I think I'd like to be a consultant. And I was like, well, I guess I should start asking people. I mean, I started seeing people saying, welcome to the team, welcome to the team. And I said, all right, I'm going to start asking people. What it did for my business is it made me go more all in. They always say you don't realize what you don't know until you try to teach it to somebody else. That's kind of like me. It gave me accountability. It showed me the areas that I needed to work harder on or to learn more about. And it just made me more invested in my business because I had other people watching me. I mean, I know that sounds kind of silly, but it's really true. I'm a slightly competitive person, but also like I wanted to be a good role model. I didn't want to have a yucky business and then have people under me saying, well, she can't even do it. How can I make this work? I wanted to show them, and I still do. I want to show everybody what is possible when you set your mind to it with this business, and when you put the work in. So that's something. The other benefit that going, and presenting the business opportunity has on your business is bookings. When you're reaching out to a person and going, as Tina would say, for the big fish first, going for that business lead first, the chances of them, first of all, you're developing a rapport with that person. You're telling them, I believe in you enough, and I like you enough to ask you to be on my team. Right? You don't want to work with people you don't like. So I wouldn't want to ask people to join my team if I don't like them. And so you're telling them, I think you're good enough to do this job. And I think you're nice enough and smart enough to be on my team, and I want you on my team. The other thing is that they're not as likely to say no to you twice as they are, with just going for the booking. So if you say, hey, have you ever thought about doing this as a side gig or doing this for some extra side money? And they say no to that. And you explore that with them a little bit, because you always want to ask more questions. And it comes back that they are not interested in the business. Say, well, what would you think about having a party? Because we have this great special, you can get a great deal. And, if you're sort of on the fence about whether to join or not, you can just see what it's all about. Maybe they've never even attended a party before. So it can lead to more bookings for you. And so you really want to start with the recruiting question. But how do you start? Obviously, I'm not going to go through all of the specials that we have, because if you don't know what the current specials are, make sure you get on Marketing Imagery and take a look, because the really amazing special we have for the full kit rebate is good until the end of the month. So this is like the best time to go talk to people about the business. They're giving us the special, the full kit rebate. They're giving us fast track rewards. They're giving us wait, I had something else. Oh, and all this training. Like, we don't even have to, invest in a system from scratch to train these people that we're bringing onto our team. They have Dash for us. And that is such a huge support that we can take advantage of. And they can really get so much training through that system. And a lot of other companies do not have that. I'm talking to somebody right now who just started selling for another company. And she's so frustrated because her trainer, or, the person who recruited her, keeps saying, oh, go check that system. Just go check that system. She's like, I don't know where to find anything. And for us, it's all there. And I'm really proud, that we have something so amazing to offer people that join our team. So here are some ideas on who to start with. If you're trying to think, okay, who should I start with? And maybe it's a little bit different of a list than the people you started with on bookings when you're trying to find bookings. This you might want to start, especially because we're in the last week or so of a really great special. Start with your current hosts, obviously, because who's most likely to join your team? It's your hosts. Start with your current and future hosts. So you can go to them and say, I know that your party's coming up next month. I know your party's not for a couple months, but oh my goodness, this special that we have going is just too good for me not to share. I just have to share it with you because it's only good until the end of this month. Have you ever thought, ... Obviously, another one is our past hosts, past business leads, people that have said that they were interested, but that's somewhere that Carrie came from. She had told me at one of my 2 cooking parties that I ever had, this time around, I've had 2 cooking parties, and my very first one, she said, well, I used to sell Pampered Chef a long time ago, but I'm getting married, so it wasn't the right time for her. And I just kind of kept in contact with her, and she is like killing it right now. So it just wasn't the right time for her then, but I kept, reaching out to her here and there just to see how she was doing. And it really paid off. And she has a very strong business. Another place to find where I've been finding a lot of recruit leads lately and I know we say this a lot, but are my rock star guests. Not just my rock star guests, people that have commented when you get that two-way conversation going in private messages, people that said that they used to sell it. Like, people are offering that up to me like crazy, saying, oh, I used to sell it, I've got a ton. And I'm like, really? And then you strike up that conversation. But those rock star guests, if you're looking to strengthen your business and you're looking to find people to ask about joining your business, why not go through every party that you've had? If you're an established consultant, why not go through every party you've had and make a list of those 3 rock star consultants in every party? Just start at the beginning and just, make a list and just go straight down and say, okay, this person, and make that list and then go and contact them. And if you don't have that two-way conversation going, there are ways, to reach out to them. Maybe they placed an order, maybe they didn't, but maybe they placed an order. And there are lots of ways to reach out to them. So you can even send them a friend request. Even though the party's over, send them a friend request. Why not? And say, I was just thinking about you. You were so great in Tracy's party. I just was thinking about how much you love Pampered Chef. Have you ever thought ... Another, and I did mention this, is past consultants, but also people, if you have had consultants on your team, reach out to dropped consultants from your team, people that just, it wasn't the right timing for them, but obviously they love Pampered Chef, and this could be a better time for them. And then also people that mentioned it during the parties that they used to be a consultant or their mom was a consultant. How many times have I heard that? My mom used to sell Pampered Chef. Was that you, Samantha? Did your mom used to sell it? See?
Dude, when I was little, all through my childhood, I went to parties with her. It was great.
See, there you go. And how cool is that? And people have a very fond, memory of that. And also people who said, oh, my mom has given me so much Pampered Chef stuff, that memory for them, it really has a fondness. And I've had a lot of conversations. Aubrey, oh, that's right. Aubrey joined too. That is so cool. See? I hit on something. Okay, here's another little tip that I've started trying to do a little bit of where to find some people that you might not have thought of. If you go looking for people that are or were reps with another direct sales company, there are a lot of people who sell something just to get the discount. There's a lot of people who started something and it just wasn't what they wanted. People just weren't buying it. People, they would post, they didn't have the direction. They didn't have the leadership to make it a successful business. I'm talking to somebody now that same person who she doesn't have that leadership she just posts on her wall and says, hey, who wants to have a party? And that can get you a few parties. That's great. But what then? I think that there are a lot of people who are very open to the direct sales, but for whatever reason, couldn't make another one work. Well, Pampered Chef, I feel like is different. I really do. I feel like as we talked about before, the products sell themselves. Even during hard times when things in the economy aren't great, people are eating at home more, and we can help them with those, get those meals on the table for cheaper, even if they're investing in a product. And so I feel like our product is really economy proof. So as COVID proved, somebody asked me the other day, oh, did you do okay during COVID? And I was like, yeah, we did okay during COVID. And I talked to them a little bit more about that, because that's not everybody. That is not all these businesses. So go look for people, and you can actually even do a search for people that mention Scentsy, people that had Scentsy parties, people that had 31 parties. You can do a search for friends that had parties or that sell those products. I mean, have you ever tried doing that? you could actually, send them a post and say, I was wondering, I noticed that you haven't been posting about 31 anymore. Is that something you're still involved in? You could say, oh, I noticed you sell this, 31. And I was curious, how are you doing with that? Why not? I sell Pampered Chef, and I was just curious, how do you do with it? And if a lot of times people just like post like here, and they're not really into it. Obviously, if they're like really into it, leave them alone. If they're like, if you can tell that like they have one of those really big businesses, you might want to just, concentrate on somebody else. But I feel like we have such a great income structure and a great, compensation and rewards plan that we can talk to anybody about it. And if they're hungry to do something different and hungry for some extra income, Pampered Chef might be a great fit for them with the right leadership. So it's just about being authentic and starting that conversation. Another one, place, especially right now, are stay-at-home moms that are home with their kids for the first time, or home with their kids for the first time, or home with no kids for the first time, right? People that are empty nesters for the first time, new moms who are home for the first time, people that post a lot about Pampered Chef, like different products that they love. If they're fixing a recipe and you notice it's on a bar pan, well, say something. I just got a party with that, and I'm going to be asking her for sure about the business because she's been a repeat host of mine. People that follow Tasty. Did you know you can go onto Tasty and you can see what friends of yours follow Tasty? It says these people follow Tasty, so you can go on there and find which of your friends are fans or follow Tasty. Who do you follow? And now go and look for the people that follow them. And I say, oh, I noticed you follow this person. I love this person over here. Have you ever seen their stuff? Well, since you love cooking so much, have you ever thought about ... Let's see. Any questions? I'm like going 1,000 miles a minute. One other thing to consider is how we treat the no's when it comes to recruiting. I know we talk about with a no for bookings, we always ask more questions. We say basically like, oh, is it a no forever? Is it a no right now? Can I follow up with you down the road? Or, or is it just more of a nah? That's what I say. Is it more of a nah? And put a little like smiley face. You can end any conversation, no matter how uncomfortable it is, with a smiley face, and you get away with it. So what are you doing that for recruiting? Do you have something that you send people when they say no, that they're not interested in the business? Do you have words that you use? I'm going to flip over here real fast. I think I had it pulled up. Let me just pull it up. So you can basically use the same wording that you would use for a booking. And you can say, oh, thanks so much for writing back. Can I ask, is this something you considered before, but the timing is just bad? Do you mind if I reach back out to you down the road? Maybe when we have another really great special, or is it more of an app? So it's exactly the same wording as a booking, but it's catered more toward the recruiting. Are you doing that? Are you making a list of your no's? Are you making a list of, or going back and following up with the people who didn't write back? We always say, if somebody doesn't write back for a booking, are you following up with them 48 hours later and saying, oh, I know how it is. I know how I am about missing messages when I'm busy. I just didn't want you to miss this amazing opportunity if you were interested and just got busy. And you could just say something similar to that. Are you doing that? Am I doing that? Am I following up with everybody who doesn't write back to me about the business? So that's something for me to work on too. And I can send you some of those words to use, but it's basically all of our booking follow-up language and no reply language, but just catered a little bit more toward the recruiting side. Now, I did hear something interesting, and I don't know if, I didn't have a chance to talk to Tina Miriam about this or anyone else, but we were given a challenge, a turbo recruiting challenge. And this is like intimidating, but if you're going to go for your business, go for your business, like do it. I mean, if you're going to do it big, right? So the thought behind it was if you make 30 contacts, that's a lot, 30 contacts for 3 days straight, asking people about the business. So, but even if you cut that down and say, you know what, I'm going to ask 10 people about the business for the next 3 days. The average is that you'll recruit one person for every 10 contacts. That's the thought. And I know we say the every 4 add one more. How many parties are you having? Are you adding one every time you have 4 parties? Are you adding one to your team? Exactly. You know, and there's a rhyme and reason to that. You know, there are people at these parties who would like to join the business, but are they being asked? Are you reaching out to those people? I've said recently that if I know that there's somebody who wants to have a party and I didn't ask them, that's just like I've left money, you know, sitting on the table, like I said before. They could go and book a party with somebody else. That's happened before. They could decide that window of opportunity where they want to have a party could fly by. You could be missing your opportunity with the person. This could be the right time if, you know, and if you don't ask, who will? It's either going to be nobody or it's going to be somebody else asking them. And so you just want to make sure you take every opportunity. So why not go for it? And, you know, does anybody want to commit to reaching out to 10 people for 3 days straight? 10 people is not that many. I'm going to go for, I don't know. Kelly Hatch says, I will. Yay, Kelly Hatch. That's 30 people in 3 days. And so based on the law of averages, that should add one person to your team. What if you said, you know what, I want to up that. I want to do 20 people. I want to reach out to 20 people and send 20 messages. And in 3 days, then you could wind up with 2 people joining your team. Yay, good job. It makes a difference in your business. Now I'm going to be committing to reaching out to 30 people. I'm not going to promise it's going to be in those 3 days because we're going to be in the Bahamas, but I'm going to be trying to fit it in there wherever I can because I really want to. Donna says she's in. Good job, Donna. And make the reach outs authentic. Just change a little bit of the wording to make it where it's about that person. And that's why sometimes it's better to go for 10. You know, if you think 30 is too much and you can't make it authentic, then do the 10 and make it authentic reach outs instead of just like a huge, long, you know, this long message to somebody where it doesn't even seem like it, you know, you're even trying to get to know them at all. So anything else? That's all I have. Tina, anything else? What kind of words? Any suggestions? Yes, I will send you some suggestions when I send out the link. How about that? Instead of trying to post it here, I'll put together some more. I have a couple things, but I just found some new ones that I'd like to add into the list of things that I've been compiling. Okay. Anything, Tina, Aubrey, Ramona?
I would just say recruiting is not about you. Remember, it's not about you. It doesn't matter if they say yes or no. It's about the person and if you help that person. So always remember that. And that just definitely takes the pressure off of you. Like, be okay with whether they say yes or no, you know? And I think when we have that attitude, it just makes all the difference in the world.
That is so true. That is so true. And it just like bookings, you know, if you're always worried about if they're going to say no and you don't ask somebody to book a party, you're never going to get that yes. You just have to take yourself out of it. There could be a million reasons why somebody says no. And that's why we ask that next question. I would say, I mean, Tina, you can probably back me up on this. Probably, I've got to say probably half my parties come from people that said no first. I mean, that has to be about accurate. I should go back because I ask more questions and it just, their no means not right now. And a lot of times people's first knee-jerk reaction is to say no to something really fast. You know, when they don't have all the information about it, their knee-jerk reaction is to say no. And so it's really worth asking, you know, more questions, but also realizing that if they do say no and they are a true no, even if they're a mean no, even those mean no's, it doesn't matter. It's not about you. It's not because you're a bad person and they don't like you. You know, they might not like you. You know, that's their problem, not yours. So, you know, take yourself completely out of it and just say, I know what a gift this has been for me, and I want to give that to somebody else, and, and walk alongside this person and do it with them.
Yeah, if someone's mean to you, you just tell yourself, rejection is God's protection on this one. You didn't get that meanie on your team.
That's a good one. He's growing you. He's growing you through that. How many times have I been grown? Anything else? Any questions? Anything that's worked? All right. Can't believe it. We're pretty much on time.
Asking good questions and not saying too much. You should be listening more than you're talking, asking questions more than anything, for sure.
So true. That is so true. And I'm really trying to get out of the habit of like their super long messages into like, can I tell you more about this? We have a great special. Can I tell you more? It's so exciting. And they, pique their interest a little bit. All right, everyone. Well, happy recruiting, and let's build our teams, because recruiting fixes everything. And we want strong businesses. So that comes from recruiting. We want to see those numbers at that team meeting at the beginning of next month. We want to see some recruiting numbers. Got it? All right, everyone. Thank you so much. Bye, everyone.
Bye.